Wrong button. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Chicago Black Delegation Podcast is a show dedicated to reshaping and reclaiming Black culture in America. The intention of this podcast is to improve the conditions of Blacks in America by way of platforming different ideas. At no point will the views shared on this podcast, be it the show's title, conversation headers, individual expressed ideas, or otherwise, should be interpreted as an attack on other groups, but rather a means to a greater end for Blacks in America. Views shared by individuals does not represent the views shared by Chicago Black Delegation, its staff, or other guests unless specified. What's up, everybody? Back again once again, another week. Another huge set of news, honestly and obviously. Man, where to even start? I don't want to get too far involved, too far into like the kind of news that kind of been going circulating, starting yesterday actually. But I'm gonna be doing a deep. I will definitely be doing a deep dive on it. Most likely, I want to say tomorrow. I don't want to go. I didn't want to necessarily make a like a knee jerk reaction video without understanding as much context as I possibly could. I just think that's a smart thing for me to do. So instead of me kind of just doing like a quick react as it was happening, I'm gonna try to find as much information as I can and then review it live with you all. Again, I'm looking at tomorrow. So please look forward to that. Otherwise, before we, let me go ahead and explain how the show kind of goes. So yeah, here on the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast, we kind of do things a little bit different than what you may know or what you may be used to. Essentially, this show is normally broken down into different segments. There'll be in today's episode. There'll be three different segments, and I'm gonna intro and outro each segment. So just because I made outro a segment, it does not mean that's the end of the podcast. Just like stay tuned, and I will kind of read any questions that anybody left in the chat. Maybe read super chats or whatever's going on. Interact with everybody a little bit. Maybe give like a little intermission, little talk, chat or anything or something like that. And then I'll go into then I'll intro the next segment. You will know when the show is over when I specify it. So that's pretty much how things kind of go. Like again, if it sounds weird, you just know that it's kind of a one man production team over here. Basically doing it like this is gonna help me, edit things in when I go back to edit everything. So essentially, yes, this is more so like the initial recording. And I just like to do it live. We also have a phone number. I'm not certain if the phone number works because I know Skype changed their stuff up. So I need to get to the bottom of that. But otherwise, yeah, everything's kind of been solid for me. Kind of been, like I said, I have been streaming more, a lot more really. Just kind of been turning the camera on and then kind of going over, whatever piques my interest at the time. Like I said, as far as yesterday, yeah, I was definitely made aware of what happened regarding the bombing of Iran. Very unfortunate stuff. I don't want to get too far into it again. So I don't want to get get any type of trouble. You got to be really careful with the language you use on YouTube. Anyway, but regardless, yeah, I definitely heard about that, and there's definitely quite a bit of nuance that kind of goes into it. Don't want to get, but yeah. So we'll be doing a deep dive on that tomorrow. But as far as today, yeah, gonna be talking about some black business per usual. Gonna be pseudo defending the FBAs again. Man, they need to like really get their stuff together, bro. They have to these people have to get their arguments together. They have to be able to defend themselves properly. I know. Not everybody's gonna call Tariq. Tariq's not gonna save y'all niggas. And most of the from the look of things, some of the arguments I've seen him make, not all, but from some of the arguments I've seen him make, he's not necessarily capable of defending himself a lot of the time. or sometimes, not all the time. Anyway, but besides that, yeah, man. So then I saw some things kind of going on with the what's going on with Congress. It might be a little bit dated news for some people, but we gotta get in y'all. I will kind of get in that as well. Um, and then let's and then we have a Trump supporter that's been going viral. So I want to kind of check out her content. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this content. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black. It's not. I ain't tell you how to write show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Show. Starting me, hard thinking, of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. And on today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at some current business that's been going on in Virginia. They are actually doing something pretty irreprehensible, if you ask me, regarding the naming of monuments that's going on, that's down there, that's been historically renamed from Confederate generals and who are, like, I don't like look I don't respect these people. I don't even know their names, but like these are Confederate army leaders and stuff like that, generals and such. And then America doing the right thing, they dishonor them by changing their name. I'm changing the names of these monuments to more prolific, more American names and soldiers. You know what I mean? And names and soldiers that are very much so worth the decoration. You know. So, but yeah. So let's kind of get into what we're kind of talking about here. So first and foremost, I want to get a shout out to Black Home Educators. She's seems to be putting put a lot of work in, so definitely give her a follow. This is not. Wait, how did that happen? Oh, Jesus. Give me a second, y'all. Why did this thing flip like this, guys? Okay, give me a second. Technical difficulties. Always technical difficulties. Oh shit. Seems to be it. I don't want to do that per se. It would do. Okay. Is that gonna work? All right, it works now. Great. All right, perfect. So let me go ahead and kind of redo this a bit. So here's our video right here, and definitely take a look at Black Home Educators. She definitely been putting in a lot of work as far as educational content that is useful. I would argue. Definitely keeping an eye on Senate hearings, Department of Justice hearings, and things of that nature. Definitely need to be keeping this stuff in your rotation. Yeah, at the very least weekly rotation. You know what I'm saying? So let's check it out.
Patriots were not worthy enough to have their names on a base.
Well, hold on, let me refresh.
that these 4 patriots were not worthy enough to have their names on a base?
Well, Senator, as you know, this was never about the names of the bases they were renamed to.
So you don't challenge the worthiness.
Restoring all bases to their original name, because we're not about erasing
history.
history.
You wanted to.
So he said all the bases instead of just 4 of them. Let's do a little bit of a let's kind of go back into like some of the nuances so we kind of understand what's kind of going on. Now, back in 2022, there was some bases in, I believe they were all in Virginia, that were again renamed from their Confederate like former names into again more prolific, more honorable names. You know, obviously because these are American soldiers and not Confederate Army rebels. Anyway, so let's kind of again, October 12, 2022, Defense Secretary Lloyd J. Hudson III has approved renaming 9 military bases and eliminating more than 1,100 other assets honoring the Confederacy. It's good stuff. In a memo released last week, Austin said the Defense Department had accepted naming commission final recommendations for revising of various military elements. Congress created the commission to wipe Confederate States of America references from United States military assets. I fully support the efforts and recommendations of the naming commission on the important matter. I am committed to implementing all of the commission's recommendations as soon as possible, Austin said in the memo. The installations and facilities that our department operates are powerful public symbols of our military, he added. The names of the installations and facilities should inspire all those who call them home, fully reflect the history and the values of the United States, and commemorate the best of the republic that we are sworn to protect. There's a 90-day waiting period for implementing the commission recommendations, but Austin said he wants all changes by January 1st, 2024. Austin directed the relevant departments to start making the changes that aren't subject in a 90-day waiting period, including the Pentagon's memorialization and naming process. A working group led by the Under Secretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment will oversee fully realizing the commission's suggestions. The 8-member naming commission had until October 1st for its final proposals. Commissioners spent 18 months reviewing hundreds of Department of Defense assets referencing the Confederacy, including installations, ships, monuments, symbols, and campaign streamers. The group's findings appeared in 3 reports. The first report, called Renaming 9 Army Bases, currently mentioning senior Confederate officers, which is crazy that it took this long for this type of a change. Like, I don't know. It's like I don't know, man. I gotta stop for a second. Like the blatant disrespect towards like Black Americans is just already insane. But like they're essentially disrespecting themselves, knowing that how like problematic of a time period, even outside of slavery. You know what I mean? That was a time where the South rebelled against the North and refused to send assets the way that, you know, the Union needed those assets to be sent. So that was like kind of the purpose of the Civil War, was to again unionize the states, but also so that motherfuckers start sending money properly. But yes, the end of the abolishment of slavery came along with that. So where did I leave off at? The renaming effort cost us $62.5 million, which should be noteworthy as well. The department's implementation of the commission's recommendations will give proud new names that are rooted in their local communities and that honor American heroes whose valor, courage, and patriotism exemplify the best of the United States military, Austin wrote. I very much so agree. Those bases include Alabama's Fort Rucker becoming Fort Novosel in honor of Chief Warrant Officer Fort Michael J. Novosel Sr., Georgia's Fort Benning changing to Fort Moore in honor of Lieutenant General Hal Moore and his wife Julia, and Fort Gordon switching to Fort Eisenhower in honor of President and former Army General Dwight Eisenhower. Louisiana Fort Polk becoming Fort Johnson in honor of Sergeant William Henry Johnson. North Carolina's Fort Bragg shifting to Fort Liberty in honor of the American value of liberty. Texas Fort Hood transitioning to Fort Cavalos in honor of General Richard E. Cavalos. Virginia's Fort A.P. Hill switching to Fort Walker in honor of Dr. Mary Edwards Walker. Fort Lee morphing into Fort Gregg Adams in honor of Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg and Lieutenant Colonel Charity Adams. And Fort Pickett becoming Fort Barfoot in honor of technician Sergeant T. Barfoot. At least one installation commemorating Confederate general wasn't in the commission's recommendations. Camp Beauregard in Pineville, Louisiana refers to PGT Beauregard, but because the Louisiana National Guard owns the base, it was outside of federal commission's purview, which is Louisiana. Man, Louisiana just keep taking L's, bro. Despite this, the Louisiana Guard asked the public to submit new names and formed its own committee of military, local, and state officials to review potential replacements. Okay, all right. What they say, they cool. So yeah, that was pretty much what happened again in 2022 under the Biden administration, and let's kind of get back into what this whole commotion is about.
You don't care about their military record. You wanted to restore the Confederate names. When you called the Gregg family to tell them that their dad's name was no longer going to be on the base, what was their reaction?
Senator, the Army notified them of that.
You didn't call any of the families, and I've spoken with the families, and the families were called by the press.
So, real quick, let's talk about, let's just kind of show you who Gregg is real quick. Greg. Well, hold on. This is gonna be. I know it's down here. Fort Gregg Adams. Yeah, Lieutenant General Arthur J. Gregg. So I'm not gonna go through all of this stuff, but yeah, Gregg born in 1928 in Florence County, North Carolina, died in 2024. Branch, he was in the United States Army. Commands Deputy Chief Staff Logistics, Director of Logistics, Joint Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff Logistics Headquarters, USA EU. I don't know what that is. USA EUR and 7th Army Commander, European Exchange System, Nabolanak Army Department. Deport, Germany. 96 Quartermaster Direct Support Battalion, Vietnam. Was awarded Defense Distinguished Service Medal, Army Distinguished Service Medal, Legion of Merit with 3 oak leaf clusters. Very decorated individual, very praiseworthy, and they had the nerve to change the name of this of the monument that he was that was named after him, and without telling the family at that. So that's like extremely disrespectful in my opinion, especially with him being as honorable as he actually is. So let's keep let's keep going.
That's how they learned about this. They learned about it from the press. You didn't call the Barfoot family, the Gregg family, and you didn't call the Adams family.
So Adams, let me see. Yeah, no, that's not it. So Charity Adams, and this is a black woman actually, and this is another one. This one, Charity Adams was, I guess, he was joint named with the other individuals I just read. Arthur Gregg. What is his name? Yeah, Arthur J. Gregg. I'm sorry, and and uh, and like yes, again, they're another very decorated, soldier. So, birth name Charity Edna Adams, born in December 5th, 1918. Died January 13, 2002, at 83 in Dayton, Ohio. Obviously, she's American Branch Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, the United States Army. Years of service: 1942 to 46. Rank Lieutenant Colonel. Unit 3rd Company, 3rd Training Regiment, WAAC, Fort Des Moines. Commands 68 88th Central Postal Directly Battalion. Awards Ohio Women's Hall of Fame, the Smithsonian Institutions, and one of the most important black women in history. South Carolina Black Hall of Fame, Service to Community Awards, Senior Citizens Gold Watch Awards, Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame, honorary doctorates from Wilberforce University and University of Dayton. Namesake of Fort Gregg Adams. So, like again, she shared the name of one of the government monument. This is something I just peeped here. Smithsonian Institution is one of the most important black women in history. I want to take a look at this someday soon, because this is gonna help me with those. This is gonna help me in those conversations I have with those these niggas in these Facebook groups that don't think black women help with anything. So I think that's definitely some pretty good ammo to use to keep in the chamber here. Let me just kind of paste that real quick. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna hold that one. We're gonna put that one in the chamber. Just keep it going.
I told the families I'd ask you about this today. In fact, two of General Gregg's granddaughters, Avery and Sydney, are right here in the audience, and I want to ask you this as I close. While you announced that these brave men and women's names would be stripped from the Virginia bases, no orders to that effect have been received by the base commanders. In light of the patriotic service of Van Barfoot, Arthur Gregg, Charity Adams, and Mary Walker, I'd like to ask you simply not to issue the orders changing the names of these Virginia bases. These families, my Commonwealth, are very proud of these heroes, very satisfied with these names, and ask you not to change them. Will you honor these exemplary patriots and keep their worthy names in places on the bases they loved and where they served?
All right. So, real quick, I want to talk a little bit about, I forgot his, give me a second. He's right here too. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Tim Kaine here. Like I said, I think this is a relatively very well crafted speech here, putting the pressure on. I forgot the other guy's name too. Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth. So I think it was I mean, very informational, very straightforward, to the point, clear and concise, all of the above. So let's kind of take a look at who he actually is. Just very briefly. So Tim Kaine, United States Senator from Virginia. Let's find his if he has like a kind of a brief about me. Contact about Tim. Here we go. So hometown Richmond, Virginia. Born February 26, 1958. His wife is Ann. Children Nat, Woody, and Nelia. Education: University of Missouri, Harvard Law School. Sworn in 2013. Tim Kaine has served people throughout his life as a missionary, civil rights lawyer, teacher, and elected official. He is one of the few dozen people in American history to have served as a mayor, governor, and United States senator. So then they kind of go into it about his early commitment to public service, his family life, early career, elected office, how the impact he does in the Senate, and voting record is pretty important here. It's a good idea to be checking out these different senators and politicians' voting record to see where you could to have kind of help you understand where their allegiance lie for the most part. Legislation, the committee assignments, pretty important stuff. So he has some pretty good information on his internet site, and this is something I do kind of recommend people to kind of do. Like all of these politicians, they do have these internet sites that tell you all about themselves as politicians, and before you kind of just vote blue no matter who, it is a good idea to have a good understanding of the values of these politicians, but not just the values, not just the policies that they promote, but actually it's good to understand how they prioritize these policies as well. So all that's a lot of these, some of these things and more can be found again on their websites. So let's get back to the video.
Well, Senator, we very much thank and appreciate them for their service, and we'll find ways to recognize them, but the orders will soon be going to those bases to change the names back to the original name that never should have been changed.
But you
Ain't that something? Ain't that something? So this gentleman that just said that nonsense, saying that, okay, after everything he just said, that he just simply said, we'll find something else to do with it. We'll find other ways to honor him. But it's not going to be taking the place of the names of these Confederate soldiers, which is, again, I just have no idea why we feel the need to honor some rebels, some people that, again, want to keep black people in chains and stuff like that. It just kind of speaks to what we kind of dealing with as a nation during this current administration. So anyway, House was this? I forgot what HON stands for. But anyway, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. A little bit about him. The Honorable Pete Hegseth is the 29th Secretary of Defense, sworn in January 25th, 2025, a graduate of Princeton University in 2003. Hegseth was commissioned as an infantry officer in the United States Army National Guard. He participated in a number of active duty deployments during his time in service, including operations in Guantanamo Bay, Iraq, and Afghanistan. So obviously he's a Republican, and obviously he's kind of a jerk, to put it nicely, because again he refuses to dismiss this proposal by whomever the fuck commissions this to change the names of these monuments back into their original racist rooted names. So it's very, very fucking unfortunate. It's extremely disgusting, in my opinion.
have the power to not send those orders. They haven't gone out yet, correct?
Thank you, Senator. Your time has expired.
Well, there you go. So. Yeah. So anyway, very unfortunate news. To the families that to the families belonging. To the families who are related to those very honorable soldiers that fought bravely and vigilantly and honorably for this country. You have my deepest sympathies in this whole matter. Again, this is about as disgusting as it gets. Honestly, it just truly is. I didn't think we had to have this. I didn't think we had to have a conversation like this. I didn't think we had to have to explain to people that a group of people, an army as hateful as the Confederate Army needed any sort of defense to any capacity. I didn't know we had to have that conversation. I didn't know we had to explain to people that these people are bad people. They're racist. They were rebels, and they did not want what was best for the country. So it's just like for them to put all this effort into renaming these monuments from their more honorable replacement names into this. I mean, filth is just completely fucking disgusting. And I just showed you all that it costed the country $62 million to like change the names from the Confederate names, the Confederate Army names, into like the newer instated names. Again, $62 million, and they're willing to spend that much money to at least that much money to replace those names back to their original racist names. So that's I think that's completely disgusting. And I think people in Virginia need to voice their opinions about that, especially the ones that are not racist, right? But also the Black Americans as well, because again, this civil rights thing is very much so, this is something that we all had to deal with. So anyway, again, hats off to the families that are going to be affected by this decision, and I hope y'all find peace sometime soon. It's been hard thinking of Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. I catch you on the flip side. Okay, so true, very true. I appreciate you, Winter. This stuff is just a big fucking mess. Like, extremely disgusting shit. Yeah, truly disgusting. Um, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I did bring up some other ones too. This is Charity Adams. Hal Moore. He very well decorated as well. And this is just like, this is just three of like the nine that was that had their name. I don't know what's gonna happen with the other ones that they didn't mention. Now he did use the words all of them will be changed back to the original, but these four especially was mentioned by Senator Kane. So his Henry Johnson. I've heard of Henry Johnson. Um, they gave his man named the Black Death. That's pretty funny. So yeah, Medal of Honor, Purple Heart, Crow de Guerre. I don't know what that means. What Medal of Honor is the United States Armed Forces highest military decoration and is awarded to recognize American soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, guardians, and Coast Guardmen who have distinguished themselves by acts of valor. Okay. How did he get it, I wonder? Medal of Honor. Announced that he will receive the Medal of Honor presented by Barack Obama in the ceremony held on June 2nd, 2015. Johnson's medal was received on his behalf by Command Sergeant Major Lewis Wilson of the New York National Guard. Obama said the least we can do is to say we know you are who you are. We know what you did for us. We are forever grateful. For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidly at the risk of his life above and beyond call of duty. Okay. Pretty dope. See, he died in 1929. Let's see. So he received his Medal of Honor long after he passed. He died at 20. Oh, he died at 36. Yeah, I know I heard about the guy, but I didn't really know what happened to him. Records show that permanent and total disability rating was granted to Johnson on September 16, 1927 as a result of a tuberculosis infection. Additionally, Johnson suffered approximately 21 different combat injuries, rendering him unable to return to his previous job as a porter. Also, Veteran Affairs records refer to Johnson receiving monthly compensation and regular visits by Veteran Affairs medical personnel until his death. Johnson died in 29. He was buried in 29. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment here. Wait a minute. I did want to know about Charity Adams, though. Okay. Awards, honorary doctorates from Wilberforce University and University of Dayton. Ohio Women's Hall of Fame. I definitely want to check this out. This seems pretty dope. South Carolina Black Hall of Fame, Service to the Community Award, Senior Citizens Gold Watch Award. Ohio Women's Hall of Fame. The Ohio Women's Hall of Fame was a program the state of Ohio Department of Job and Family Services ran from 1978 through 2011. It's over. The hall has over 400 members. In 2019, the hall's physical achievements and online records were transferred to the state archives and Ohio History Center. After the program ended, the physical archives were transferred to the Ohioana Library, where they were held until they were transferred in 2019 to the state archives and Ohio History Center. Okay. Well, where are the black ladies at? I'm just playing. Nancy Wilson, American singer with more than 70 albums and 3 Grammy Awards. I know they got Aretha Franklin up in here. Oh. Toni Morrison. Nikki Giovanni. Poet, writer, commentator, activist, and educator. I don't know who that is. Tracy Chapman. She's a country singer. Baby can. Okay. Jenny Porter, first black female public school principal in Cincinnati. Okay. Renee Powell, professional golfer who played on the LPGA Tour and is currently head professional at her family's Clearview Golf Club. If some of these women just light skinned. Rita Dove, United States poet, laureate, and consultant in poetry and Library of Congress. Yvonne Pointer. Okay. It is so many names, dude. Stephanie J. Jones, lawyer and educator, president of Stephanie Jones Strategies, and former executive director of National Urban League Policy Institute. Henrietta Buckler Statenberg. Ann Hamilton. I know about her. Artist known for her installations, textile art, and sculptures. You got heard about her. Margaret W. Wong. Bro, they just says law. Well, she the H chick HCIC in law. Okay, I see you. There's so many names, bro. Irene Long, physician and NASA official. Long was the first female and chief medical officer at Kennedy Space Center. Bro, there's just so many names, cuz. Yvette McGee Brown. Okay, all right. We're going to the next video. I'm just sending these in here. All right. Okay, so we're talking about Patriot Baddie. All right. Okay. I wasn't even showing y'all the damn names. My bad. I guess my bad. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Day. Not the damn. I always do that. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Show. I'm your HC of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. And today's episode, we're gonna be featuring a rising star. That somebody that's kind of just went viral out of nowhere. A Patriot Baddie, apparently, who seemed to be a, you know what? I think I'm just playing the viral clip itself. I think it needs no introduction. I think we should just present it and let y'all be the judge of what you kind of see. So check it out. Oh, hold on, let's do this. Trump won. Get over it.
Don't be mad, her president won.
Get off the plantation. My people,
get off the plantation. Get off the plantation. You hear this so often from these black Trump supporters, especially those Negro pens. Those Negro pens they love dropping that get off that plantation land. I don't know if they got it from Candace. I don't know if they got it from Thomas Sowell. I don't know who they got it from. But yes, they love to tell Negroes to get off that Democratic plantation. And I think there's a lot of nuance that needs to go first. That needs to come first. But let's keep going. Let's see what she got to say, man. Maybe something important happens.
Get off the plantation. Get off the plantation.
It's really just her talking about get off the plantation. But yeah, bro. Again, there's a lot more going on than just black people being on the plantation. You know what I'm saying? There's more nuance than just that. But we kind of, unfortunately, when you kind of surrounded by people that don't talk politics the way you're supposed to, then this is kind of what you're gonna end up with. You know what I mean? I believe she said, y'all vote Democrat every time. Y'all don't get anything, right?
And then when I don't vote Democrat, they're like, you're a sellout.
Because it's low vibration. It's low.
Yeah, so, and we definitely get a lot of that going on. Vote Democrat. I mean, if you don't vote Democrat, then you're a sellout. If you vote for Trump, you're a sellout. And I don't want to get too far into it yet without going over some other content first. But yeah, this is something that I would say is problematic. I would definitely say it's a problem. Calling just immediately resorting to that type of attack when there should be a more nuanced, more thought-provoking conversation that could happen from that, and it simply just kind of starts with the question of why. There's actual debaters on all across YouTube that will simply ask, they will actually invite Trump supporters to call in, and then they ask them, "Hey, so why did you vote for Trump?" And then these people, I mean, you just kind of get next to no response after next to no response, like just a bunch of a lot of answers relegated to his character, his willingness to go against the status quo or whatever. Just a lot of things that has nothing to do with the things that actually matter. The policies. What legislation does he support? I mean, it's as if they only listen to like the viral clips or whatever, but they don't necessarily they have not sat down and watched like those the campaign. They haven't watched him speak in any of these they have not followed the campaign in any sort of like, you know, responsible manner. I don't know what to say. It's kind of just weird to watch stuff like that kind of happening. Like during that whole election cycle, I'm sitting there watching as many of the rallies as I possibly could, like in its entirety. You know what I mean? And they were kind of lengthy. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, how you gonna know? How am I gonna be voting for somebody and not know exactly what's gonna come from me voting for them? You know, I was gonna have to vote. I was gonna vote for one of the two. That's kind of what I kind of decided to do. And I was more so just along the lines of, okay, which of these two candidates was gonna best serve myself and my family, you know. And I mean, first of all, it was kind of handled quite sloppily, but I'm not gonna get too far into it. But this past election, in my opinion, was handled quite sloppily on both sides. But I just kind of feel like Donald Trump's like campaign, his rallies was just a lot more sloppy. But I guess to the point where I didn't even think he'd be a relevant pick. He wasn't gonna be even viable option. And then lo and behold, I was, well, to my dismay, he was actually elected. But anyway, I don't want this girl to throw this sand in my face telling me to get over it. I definitely got over it, but I'm still like very much so concerned about like his line of decision making and the current state of, like, you know, of America. I mean, not just the economy, but like, geez, like literally the whole fucking thing. The safety, it's like it's the thing that we have to be concerned with now. So yeah, let's see what's kind of happened.
Vibration.
Literally. What the other Democrats do for y'all? Nothing.
They're just mad.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof at?
Okay, so that's our first video here. She has some kind of dude recording, telling, like, kind of egging her on and stuff like that. But why does something like this go viral? I mean, you got a black chick, vote, you know, in a red, white, and blue outfit, in a blue flag outfit, and she got a big flag, you know, in support of, you know, showing her or displaying her support for Donald Trump, like we get. So, but yeah, why does it go viral? I mean, it's just abnormal, you know, right? Like you see the voter turnout. Like, black women make up about, I think, between 5 and 8% of the United States population, and they vote 92% of those black women that voted. 92% of them voted for Kamala Harris. There's a great deal of black women that didn't vote, mind you, but yet again, black women definitely showed up for the Democratic Party, and that's a good thing. I'm glad. I think it's good that a group can largely vote on one accord, you know. And I know some people like to say, "Oh, well, black people aren't a monolith, and we shouldn't want to be a monolith." Look. When it comes to certain things, like I would almost say most things, we should be on one accord. We should be a monolith, if you want to call it that. But anyway, so I'm just like I said, as far as this girl, but again, just going into why she went viral. Yeah, it's just unusual to see a black woman in support of Donald Trump like this. I mean, like she's skinny. She would be considered attractive by, like, a lot of guys. So it's just like, it's kind of just one of those things where it's just you know, I guess a recipe for a disaster. But I mean, I for the most part support her free speech. Like, she can do, like, kind of what she wants and all that stuff. And ultimately, like, things like the wrong way of addressing these types of, like, situations is through anger. You know what I mean? The right thing to do with this type of situation is actually have the conversation with these people, and again, just have honest and open dialogue about it. You know what I mean? So she probably could be saved, but, you know, let's go. But she has another video, kind of explaining. Well, exactly explaining what happened, but kind of introducing herself, let everybody know what she's about. So let's see what she says here.
My videos have been going viral across multiple different platforms, and I think it's time I reintroduce myself. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an independent. Some might say I'm libertarian. I don't know. I'm right in the middle. I think there's things.
So, real quick, she says she's not a Republican or a Democrat. She claims to be an independent, which is a good thing. That's what we're supposed to be. Everybody in America should be independent voters. They should not be subscribed to any either of the two parties, because either of these two parties is their policy crafting, their allegiances, like the lobbyists, like which of the lobbyists that they that they do business with, like, bro, all of this stuff, like the capitalists, the people with all the money and all that stuff, whom actually funds them, who funds these individual politicians of either of these two parties. All this stuff changes almost all the time. So you would be I would argue to say you'd be pretty foolish to put all your eggs in either of these two parties all the time. Because again, if you're not keeping up with how their allegiances swaying and change and stuff like that, you may just find out, like, too late, or find out the hard way that that politician may not represent you or your ideals. What I mean to say is, you may find out the hard way that these individual politicians just may not support the ideals, or they may not be the same person that you thought they were. I don't know what else to kind of say about that. So, I mean, I will always recommend everybody, either whatever group you subscribe yourself to, black, orange, white, police, whatever. It's best for you to be independent voters. But as far as her, people saying that she's a libertarian, I want to show people, like, all of these. What all these political parties really mean, right? Just kind of clear the air on a lot of these different types of names and stuff like that. It's not simply Democrat. It's not simply Republican. Won't be right now though. It's gonna make the video a little bit too long. But what I will say is, I don't know. I can't confirm that she's a libertarian per se. But if you are a libertarian, that means you believe in next to no government involvement in anything. So I don't know what it'll kind of be completely based on what policies this individual woman supports, and if the majority of her solutions revolve around as little government involvement whatsoever. With her being black and with her being not a rich person, I would say that it is less likely for her to be a libertarian. But I know there's other individuals that are very well acclimated with what libertarian is, and they still chose to be libertarians despite not being rich individuals. So let's see what she has. Let's see what else she has to say.
Things I don't like about the Democratic Party, and there's things I don't like about the Republican Party. So a lot of people are kind of.
So that's good. There's things she don't like about either party, and that means that I will already say that means she's paying some attention, I guess. If she can find things of either party she doesn't support. But it's definitely kind of be on the strange side for me to see a black woman claim or believe that that Trump is like the voting for Trump is like it outweighs the bad. You know what I'm saying? Like the policies that she supports from the Democratic side, the policies that she supports from the Republican side outweighs the Democratic side of things. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess it'll make more sense if I knew more about her personal life, I guess. But even then, I think a quick conversation of like, hey, even if you yourself are rich, how do you think like Donald Trump cutting all of this Medicaid spending and all these other public services, or making it less obtainable? How do you think that's going to affect your family? You know what I'm saying? So questions like that will probably clear a lot of stuff up. I don't know though.
trying to get in the wrong idea, saying I'm a black conservative or I'm a black liberal. I have some conservative ideas or ideologies, and I also have some liberal ideologies. So I'm not really a black conservative, but I am a black Trump supporter, which is just as bad, if not worse, than to the liberals. But here's the funny thing about liberals: they hated me just as much as they do now as a Trump supporter, as when I was just an independent supporting Kennedy. So you don't even have.
I think it's Robert F. Kennedy, right? Which is strange. I have no idea why she supports Robert F. Kennedy. Maybe I might search it up real quick. I don't know, but Robert F. Kennedy really wasn't all that. Honestly, he just really wasn't. I mean, like, yeah, that dude definitely has some like weird takes lately. I can't really necessarily support him. I liked him initially because he had that one conversation with Killer Mike. But like I think Killer Mike is gonna I think Killer Mike is the type of dude, is the type of brother that will bring out the best out of like pretty much any politician, because he's gonna the direction he's gonna send the conversation is gonna be is gonna be towards investment into like youth and investment into like the lower the impoverished class, right? So when you kind of talk good things about the impoverished class and offer solutions for the impoverished class and make promises, or just talk solutions about the impoverished class that sounds good at the very least, especially in the direction that Killer Mike is gonna spearhead it. Yeah, you can pretty much like almost any politician. I'm pretty sure even Donald Trump would have did well in the conversation with Killer Mike. However, Donald Trump is just a big fucking liar. So, like, who knows? Who knows if Killer Mike would actually press them on actually making those suggestions or solutions, actual promises.
To be like against them if you're not with them.
And real quick, I got to put this out there too, because the reason I say that is because we saw what he said about the Platinum Plan. I'm gonna keep bringing this up every time I talk about Donald Trump, and every time I talk about Donald Trump, at least when I'm talking about black people, like the Platinum Plan looked fucking amazing. Like it looked really, really good. I did a review of it on my other channel. It was extremely promising. What happened to it, I have no fucking clue. It's like he forgot about it. Kanye forgot about it. All of the people that interviewed him during this election, during this campaign, his campaign tour, nobody seemed to remember. You know what I'm saying? It's really just like baffling that he kind of got away with like murder as far as the Platinum Plan is concerned. But yeah, I could have told this girl like, hey, why you think he didn't support the Platinum Plan? And maybe that would have changed the man a little bit. Like, I don't know.
They treat you the same way. I'm not somebody that would have supported Republicans anyway. The left got so bad and went so far left, I ended up going to the other side. That's what I want the story to be.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. And this is like I can't really support this line of thinking as well either. Like, I understand like dealing with like liberals is like really like annoying, because you have to like to be like a liberal, you have to be essentially extremely all encompassing. You have to be not just I don't want to say necessarily tolerant, but like you have to embrace everybody, and like in the minds of a lot of people, we're gonna just know that there's gonna be a lot of things that we as individual groups are just not gonna agree with other groups, and that's kind of like one of the problems. Like, we all not gonna just be voting. We can't expect, like, I'm gonna say it like this. Like, there's videos all over, with certain like marginalized minorities that talk bad about reparations. You know what I mean? And for the most part, most black people are in support of reparations. You can look at the charts yourself, but and there's other things. I mean, and to a lesser extent, support for individuals like George Floyd, or maybe other things, policies like police reform. It just has a different priority list, a different like support level for different like types of people. Now, liberals are trying to like put everybody under one banner and then kind of force everybody to play along. I mean, it's a pretty. I mean, I like the idea of that happening. Hopefully, it works out. You know what I mean? But like when somebody doesn't go along with them, um, like them turning to anger is just it's like kind of the big problem here. You know, I will give Patriot Baddie that grace, but at the same time, like that's not the reason you vote for Donald Trump. You know, that's not the reason you vote contrary to your best interest. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. It's like it's like I get it. I get it how problematic it could come off. I know how it can feel to be rejected by these types of people, but you can't. I don't think it's wise to like let that be your influence. Like let that be the decision or the straw that broke the camel's back for you to vote for somebody or change your political affiliations. You know what I mean? You have to just stick with what you know. Stick with what's best for you and your family. You know, and your community. And I don't know what to kind of say that. I guess I don't. Again, I just don't think it was wise to do something like that.
You leftists that hate me so much now, you guys are the ones that did this. You guys couldn't hold your party together. You guys want to keep doing this extreme woke shit.
So let me stop her right there too. I'm just, oh my god, so much stopping. I get it. Like, look, man, leftists. I think I want to say she mislabeled the people that's like kind of talking at her. Leftists, real leftists voted for like Jill Stein, right? Like let's put it this way: the most left of the leftists voted for Jill Stein. I'll put it that way. There's definitely leftists that so I'm changing my mind here. But yeah, of course there's leftists that did vote for what's that lady name? Kamala Harris. So that I'll give it. Those people do exist. Those people do exist. Let's keep it going. Man. I might have to check that back.
You guys are the reason why I left. You guys are the reason why I joined MAGA, because at least they could keep the country secure. At least they.
Yeah, keeping this country secure, like that's nonsense. Yeah, bro. Like, look, man. Barack Obama is the deporter in chief, man. Like, there's a lot of people that got deported under Barack Obama. Democrats deport people, and they do relatively well on the border situation. Now, this past administration, there's some things that kind of happened, kind of hard to tell. I can't necessarily pinpoint what necessarily happened with that border. I believe I recall Joe Biden talking about he's running on open borders. I think, but I don't know. Regardless, though, if Joe Biden truly did run on open borders, that would be like an anomaly. That'd be the first time this ever happened in the Democratic Party. To say that Republicans have a better control of like the border or anything like that, it's not necessarily historically accurate, but like looking at what Joe Biden, how things kind of happen under Joe Biden, it's definitely like problematic. But what I will say is like the border situation has always been kind of a mess anyway. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, people have always been coming through Texas, under Democrats, under Republicans. But like, I guess, like I said, for some reason, it became like really bad under Joe Biden. But we can't say that the Democrats don't support. What I mean to say, we can't say that the party as a whole has a problem with the border, because for the simple reason that like Kamala Harris. Not Kamala Harris, but the Democrats had proposed a bill to remedy that situation on the border, and the Republicans voted against it because Donald Trump essentially wanted to run on it. And I know Byron, I think the guy's name is Byron Daniels. Let me check real quick. I don't want to get his name wrong. Byron Donalds, right? Yeah, that's him. I know Byron Donalds tried to say that, they trying to pass money to Ukraine in that bill, and that's why they voted against it. I'm just like, it's dumb for him to say something like that because like Ukraine, I think there was an agreement that was written where where America was legally obligated to send money to Ukraine and support and defend them during the war. Like they may not be the part of like NATO or anything like that, but we had there was an agreement made that we were supposed to be protecting Ukraine. So and if money is necessary to protect them, then like so be it. But for him to try to say, oh, it's because of the Ukraine support, that's actually like that was bullshit. But so what that this with no other so pretty much the current prevailing argument is Donald Trump, like he phone called all of those Republican representatives and senators and House of Representatives. He phoned them to vote down the bill because he wanted to run it on himself. That's the prevailing argument right now. So, so yeah, the Democrats do make strides towards securing the border. And yes, they do hella deporting as well. So I don't really know what this girl's kind of like really talking about here. I mean, well, I do know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about, rather.
They weren't going to force us to get vaccinated. At least they weren't going to force us to.
In the vaccination thing, man, whatever, man. There's a lot of. I'm gonna put it this way. There's a lot of government jobs that did not like force people to get vaccinated. Okay, there's a lot of jobs that didn't force people to get vaccinated. Not all, maybe a whole lot of them. I get it, but like a lot of individuals. Again, a lot of individuals that I know that were actually what's that word? What do they call those people? Essential workers. Yeah, I knew a lot of essential workers that didn't get vaccinated. So. Like we were talking about.
To have biological men and women's sports. So you liberal.
So, and then biological men and women's sports. Well, I don't know what to say about that one. Like, that what a contentious topic. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but like that's definitely one of those things that I see very, very common in these types of conversations. I personally don't support biological men and women's sports. Like I just don't know really how to really put that there. But I'm not. That's not something that I think. That's not something I would like stop support of a Democrat over. Like if anything, I think if anything, how do I put this? I think the smart thing to do is vote. Okay, because I'm gonna speak heavily in general here. Okay, you got two political parties, and one of them has a lot of things that you like, and some things that you don't like, and the other party has a lot of things that you don't like, some things that you do like. When it comes to like the political party that is that has a lot of things that you do like, but you just can't really seem to get over those things that you don't like. What you're supposed to do is like do things. This is what you're supposed to do in situations like that. You're supposed to find like-minded individuals. You're supposed to and you're supposed to organize with them, and then make phone calls to your state representatives. Make phone calls to like just important political people. Go to town halls. Essentially like cause like a ruckus. Not a violent ruckus or anything like that, but make it known your position on this matter. All of you need to be making known your position on these matters. So then you can kind of, and because what you're kind of doing is you're applying pressure on these politicians to essentially rethink their support of any of these political positions. These policy positions. And again, I'm not necessarily I'm not trying to attack any of the LGBTQ plus individuals or anything like that, but I'm just saying this, I'm speaking in general here. So again, if you want, so again, the goal is to essentially, like I said, apply pressure to these politicians, and let them know that, hey, we have a large group of people here, and we will vote against you if you don't do things how you're supposed to do it. If you don't, abide by our demands here. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, it's about the power of the vote, bro. And then if those individuals what I mean to say is, because there's gonna be more politicians that's willing to run, and they will very much so. And there's gonna be somebody. You can find somebody that is willing to represent you, that follows the policies that supports the policies that you do like, and amidst maybe a few of those policies that you don't like. But that's like how you would go about changing or influencing an individual political party without having to essentially throw out the baby with the bathwater and go with somebody like Donald Trump as your president. Bro, you have to figure does the good outweigh the bad? You know what I mean?
Or reason why I joined MAGA. You guys have pushed more people to the right than the right did themselves. So y'all only have yourselves to be mad at. I was on y'all side, but y'all pushed me too far.
Okay, so regarding this lady, how do I put this? I had a conversation with another content creator once upon a time regarding this exact same matter, and it was somewhat contentious, but ultimately my goal was to get them to understand that, look, there's gonna be black liberals, there's gonna be black conservatives, and there's gonna be black people somewhere in the middle. You feel me? And but the right thing to do is for all of us to be organized and all of us to be on one accord anyway, despite our political affiliations. And that can start by simply inviting them to the cookout. I know, hot take. I know, I get it. But fact of the matter is, if we continue to ostracize individuals that don't vote in our direction, we will lose their influence altogether. Because one thing I will say is, if we at the very least keep them keep in contact with them, and and show them some decent level of compassion, we'll at least be able to how I would say, have them keep us in mind when it comes to those conversations they have with those conservatives. One thing I will say, as a brief example, and I don't know, I won't say it's a good example, to be honest with you, but the Scott Turner, I believe his name is. His name's Scott Turner. Let me check. I don't want to. Again, I'll be getting these names wrong sometimes. Yeah, his name is Scott Turner. Yeah, Scott Turner. I forgot his fucking title. Hold on. Yeah, United States Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Scott Turner. He's a black dude, and he's in Donald Trump's cabinet and everything. And I'm not gonna say that he is pro blackity black and all that stuff like we are over here. But what I will say is, had he been still rooted in his blackness, right? If he had still if he was still thinking about the goodwill of black Americans, he just at the very least speak up on our behalf when Donald Trump's other cabinet members will make a decision that will negatively impact majority black neighborhood, majority black community. But again, that's of course a lot of this is hopeful thinking and all that stuff. It's almost as if it was a fantasy. But I'm just saying that in theory, this it's possible for something like this to happen. At least in my humblest opinion. But with that said, when it comes to individuals like this, with this girl, is like I told you, she felt ostracized amongst the liberal community. Had they had been more tolerable of her of her affiliations, of her political affiliations, she'd likely be at least more willing to hear out discussions, and then be more, let's say, be more open-minded to like criticism regarding Donald Trump. Because if you kind of put her in a state of anger by talking to her in a very like, brash, evil, or just, with an angry tone, she's gonna be more resilient and accepting other people holding Donald Trump accountable. Like, again, in other words, should become defensive. You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how human behavior is. So yeah, just be like, look, I understand, like, talking to these people is like outrageous, like, just it's too much. Like, I get it, especially the older ones, like those, like the types of loops and like deflections and stuff like that I've had in conversations with these older black conservatives. It's been like mind numbing. I get it. Some people just can't be reached. However, with some individuals, especially like the younger people, more impressionable minds, it's easy to get through to them. You know what I mean? So, especially because like they haven't gotten that type of trauma that those older individuals had. So, with that said, I don't know, like, check her content out. Maybe pull a black conservative aside and have a nice, healthy conversation, political conversation with them, and maybe you'll be able to change their perspective on things. In the meantime, it's been Howard Thinking of Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. I'll catch you on the flip side. I got a comment. Ocean Winter says extreme leftists voted for Kamala Harris, like them trans who think they are a woman. Yeah, they did. And I'm pretty sure that Kamala Harris would not have impeded on the progress of the trans folks. That's pretty much guaranteed. Not gonna lie to you. But it's like I said, the only way you're gonna be able to how do I put this? There is a way you can kind of have your cake and eat it too when it comes to politics. But it's like I said, it's going to involve a lot of organizing, and you're essentially going to have your voice in the mass of voice that you've collected is going to be more powerful than the influence that the other people are trying. You know what I'm trying to say? Your organizing has to be more powerful than the organizing of your opposition. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like that. That's just kind of the situation with that. What am I doing? Okay, so the last topic. Oh yeah. How could I forget about this guy? Give me a second. Okay, conscious fucking Lee. I can't. This guy. Whew. Okay, so nobody else have anything else to say here. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to here I go again. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this corner show with me, Howard Thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast, and I am here to talk about an individual, a very well respected individual, 100,000 subscribers, decorated debater, very well decorated debater, very educated, very leftist, very Pan-African. But for some reason, I just keep finding stuff I disagree with him about. It's just I don't know I just don't know, man. I don't watch a lot of his stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of Consciously, but like every time I see him every time I see one of his videos, it's like it's something I got to nitpick at. I don't know what it is, bro. And I like leftists, you know. I don't have a. I mean, there's some things I don't agree about with some leftists, and I mean, I really kind of, and I definitely lean leftist. You know, I lean not just left, I lean leftist. You know what I mean? As far as a lot of my policies, a lot of the policies that I support. I even go as far as to like kind of help explain the arguments of leftists when it comes to contentious contentious conversations with people that are just flat out Democrats. So like I at least understand like their arguments, but like when it comes to certain subjects, bro, like I just don't understand like it's like they get emotional at certain times, you know. It's just I don't get it. I don't understand like how could it be so educated, yet they just fall victim to like certain types of like narratives that just don't make any damn sense. And like I mean, some people can just go like, okay, well, it's about their partnerships that they have with certain individuals, because when it comes to like leftists, when it comes to like being progressive and all that stuff, it requires for you to acquiesce and like to be friendly with as many groups of people as possible, all in the effort to fight against like the status quo and the oligarchy and stuff like that, and everybody else that supports this current capitalistic structure. Leftists do have like I would say lofty goals of implementing socialism. I would argue to say that some of them are flat out communists as well. But let's be fair. Let's be nice and just say they only want socialism. Maybe even some of them maybe. Damn, do I want to go as far as to say that? Well, I don't know. I don't think I can. I almost want to say like what's it called? Social democracy. I think it's called social democracy. Yeah, they don't support that. Democratic socialist. Hold on, what is the name of that? I'm pretty sure it's social democracy. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, anything that's capitalistic, like they generally are like fighting against it. And again, consciously is definitely no different. It's definitely no different to these ideals. It's good that he is Pan-African. I mean, I respect Pan-Africanism for the most part, yeah. I'm more so of an Afrocentric type, because I mean there's a difference, but I'm not gonna get to it today in this video, but like there's definitely a difference. Like ask FD Signifier what makes Afrocentricity different from Pan-Africanism, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Fact of the matter is, constantly has. And it's not just constantly, but there apparently is like a big debate happening right now. There's a big like fight going on between leftists, especially black leftists, specifically black leftists. I have not seen any white leftists, Latino, any other nationality, ethnicity leftists go to bat or go to war with FBAs or even speak on FBAs. But yeah, it's either it's majority. I mean, I'm not gonna of that group. Well, it's like a kind of a mismatch. It's kind of like all over the place as far as if they're immigrant blacks or descendants of emancipated peoples. Because I know they're not going to be called FBAs. They're not going to want to be labeled as FBAs. But going by the definition, going by the argument of what an FBA is, yes, somebody like FD Signifier, no matter how much he want to kick and scream, somebody like Consciously, no matter how much he kick and scream would fall under the category of foundational Black American. But like I think what's happening here is there is a false labeling of these individuals, whereas simply listening to Tariq Nasheed for like I don't know 10 minutes, he'll explain in depth what FBA is, and it's not really all that complicated. It's not even all that complicated, honestly. But what do I know? Anyway, so let's kind of check out what Conscious Lee has to say about these individuals, the FBAs. I think in this video he wants to debate as many of them that wants to show up, that wants to pop out. And he has actually presented some arguments that I actually want to have a response to. And I don't even really think there's all that complicated or difficult questions to, not questions, but like difficult positions to essentially uproot and essentially dismantle. Mind you, I want everybody to know that I don't necessarily support Tariq Nasheed to any capacity. I just don't. So I don't like. I want to classify, not as classify. I don't identify as FBA. I understand, again, by the definition, I would fall into that category, that categorization, that identity, but I won't call myself. I won't be hashtagging FBA to identify myself. I would sooner use ADOS. I would frequently use American freedmen rather, because I know I got some British friends that kind of got a problem. Me call myself freedman if I don't put that American distinction there. But neither here nor there. Let's see what Conscious got to talk about though. Let's see what he's saying.
Matter of fact, I'm finna tell you, I got 8 arguments right here. I'm finna go down with you right.
He said 8 arguments, but he's not gonna get through all of them here. Maybe in a later video I'll get through the rest of them, but you know, for the sake of like time, I don't want to get too. I don't want to go too far into these. I don't want to make the video too long. So
right now, first argument: FBA is white nationalism and blackface. That's the claim. The warrants, the way that they use racial purity when talking about lineage, and the way that they deployed the Great Replacement theory that was like literally created by white nationalists.
Okay, so the statement that essentially, white supremacy and blackface and how to use like racial purity and all these other things. Look, this is gonna be like the theme of a lot of how do I put this? This is gonna be like the theme of this type of these types of conversations as a whole. And it's almost applicable in almost any metric, anything you can kind of think of that hasn't been thoroughly like explored and thoroughly, debated, like so on and so forth. Fact of the matter is, like, the FBAs they're not a monolith, bro. They're not a monolith, man. What one FBA believes is not going to be the same thing as another FBA believes. These people, it's unfortunate because these people aren't even organized enough to like to distinguish what this whole code is. Even though they all talk about staying on code, and like I get it, but like look, they don't. There's no. They have not sat down and like created this code to abide by, right? So like it's unfortunate that these people are as disorganized as they are. But like with this organization, you have to have. I mean, especially as consciously as the very like as the thinker that he is, he has to understand. He needs to be able to understand that with this disorganization comes a lot of let's say a lot of, I don't want to say trolls, but I mean it can be trolls as well. But it's going to be a lot of crazy text that's going to be put out there with accommodated with the hashtag FBA. You know, but like you gotta understand, like you have to be able to look in this in a similar manner as you would seeing somebody that identifies as a Democrat saying things that most Democrats or Democratic politicians would not say or would not agree to. You know. And it's like, I don't know, it's not, I think it's like constantly, he's such a smart dude that I don't understand why he doesn't already like understand it already, you know? So again, that's just going to be like the common like narrative throughout this whole like, video or rebuttals. But for him to say that it's just it's white supremacy and blackface and stuff like that, and using racialized purity and all this other stuff, look, it depends on it strongly depends on the examples that he provides. It strongly depends on the context, the nuance of the conversation that led up to him using that scenario as an example. So what we see a lot is we see a lot of people. We see a lot of rocks being thrown at African immigrants that live in America. We see a lot of rocks being thrown their way, but we don't stop and think about where did this come from. Yvette Carnell of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation, she had to respond to a similar claim, basically saying that look, there's gonna be people in ADOS. They say a lot of crazy things. But if you want to know what ADOS is truly about, you go to the website, right? And that's the distinction between. That's one of the primary distinctions between FBA and ADOS. Well, you know what? I don't want to say that just yet. So let's see if ADOS. Hold on a second. We'll fix that later, I guess. Let's see what ADOS has to. Let's see if FBA has like a internet site yet. OfficialFBA.com. So I don't. Is this about Tariq Nasheed? Tariq Nasheed holds the trademark for FBA. So if this is his site, then we can use this. Okay, here's a trademark down here. Do I want to do that? No, I'm good. Okay. Legal disclaimer: non-organized status, lineage-based identity, prohibition. Wait, what? Okay, I can't read. Prohibition against mischaracterization and criminalization. Any attempts to classify, criminalize, or otherwise misrepresent FBA as a structured organization or extremist group are legally unfounded, defamatory, and constitute deliberate misinformation. The weaponization of law enforcement, intelligence operation, and media narratives is falsely linked to FBA identity with criminal activity, an act of defamation, and malicious prosecution. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, he pretty much official stance and entrapment, and online manipulation. We are aware of ongoing efforts by various actors, including state-sponsored intelligence agencies, social media disinformation networks, and infiltrators who deliberately frame FBA as a group rather than a lineage. These COINTELPRO style tactics include creating fake social media accounts posing as FBAs. Oh, there you go. To incite violence and criminal discussions. Okay, well there you go. He beat me to the punch. Planning false narratives in mainstream and alternative media to falsely equate FBA with organized extremist groups, attempting to entrap FBA influencers and individuals into legal jeopardy through fabricated associations. Affirmation of First Amendment rights and legal protections. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is Tariq Nasheed site, and he actually thought to throw this together and let people know. Of course he gonna sell his little things. Anyway, but yeah, I was absolutely right in what I was stating. So yeah, you have to. I was not right. So I was incorrect to assume that Tariq Nasheed did not put an internet site together similarly to the ADOS advocacy group. Even though ADOS is a little bit more detailed, they do a little bit. There's more going on there besides legal disclaimers and sellable wares and stuff like that. But yeah, he did think to already kind of get ahead of like notifying that there's individuals that will use the FBA hashtag or disguise themselves as FBAs, since like nonsense, like again like somewhat akin to trolls, you know. So for him to consciously to not kind of be like aware or like to be like more vigilant into understanding like whom is actually behind these hashtags, whom is actually behind these Twitter handles and stuff like that, to understand, are they even FBA? Are they just probably provocators and stuff like that? Like, yeah, that I don't know. It's kind of and it's like I think those things need to be considered first before you start to gather examples to start creating like these sort of narratives and stuff like that. So, but the only way, so if we were to like let's say these individuals were FBAs, right? Let's say they actually is these again. Let's say he was onto something. Let's say a FBA actually saw these stats made by this again a provocateur or a troll or whatever like that. And he actually liked it. He maybe even retweeted or something like that. Maybe it's a whole bunch of them that liked it and tweeted and stuff like that. First of all, we have to acknowledge that FBA isn't a group. Just as you said, it's just a lineage and stuff like that. But if you want to contribute I'm being as generous as good faith as I possibly can, as charitable as I possibly can in this conversation here. But even if we were to say, this man constantly was absolutely correct in all of the things. I'm sorry. Let's say what consciously gathered as far as examples was turned out to be true to any capacity. Again, we still will have to like go further into these examples and find out the nuance, find out like what is actually happening within those examples in order to see if it was actually the narrative is even justifiable to any capacity for that matter. So I don't know. We have to go further into like the actual argument itself to see how he justifies it. But for the most part, you have to like it's just like a knee jerk response to this is like, bro, they all like they're not a monolith. Some FBAs, some people just they'll don the title FBA just because it is it's a distinction between it's a distinction from themselves from other groups, and every other group does that. So why can't Black Americans? So let's keep going.
Second argument.
Facts.
FBA's hate for illegals, from what white supremacists are championing, for like their hate for illegals has allowed for them to champion Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the 14th Amendment. For y'all that's watching, and for me, you know what I'm saying, giving you my link argument or giving you more context, is that because overturning birthright citizenship is a part of the mass immigration, you know what I'm saying, agenda, that overturning is going to impact Black livelihood. The entire 14th Amendment, which was passed in 1868, you feel me? Shit, all those things really structure how we understand the Black experience.
Okay. He says it's going to affect the Black experience, it being overturned. Okay. Okay. Applying some context here. If understanding that Donald Trump understands the cause of the 14th Amendment, like the reason for this 14th Amendment was to essentially honor those slaves and give them citizenship, right? That's what the 14th Amendment was crafted for. If we can assume, if we can give Donald Trump some grace for at least for I don't know, this conversation, he would understand that would mean that something, he would understand that there will need to be something put in place to protect that protection, like to protect that right that Black Americans hold, right? That like, in other words, it will just simply need to be rewritten, right? It will need to be rewritten in a way that it protects what it was initial intention was for, while excluding individuals that were born on land to illegal or undocumented immigrants. Okay. Because like I said, like that conversation was, like I said, specifically targeting, like I said, those that are illegally across the border. You know what I'm saying? So for it to affect, I mean, it is, it's a potential that overturning the 14th Amendment will affect Black Americans. So okay, well, let's talk about that actually. So there's a distinction that need to be made here. For obviously it will affect the Black Americans that the Africans, that the African immigrants here, right? Because they still qualify as Black. So obviously it would affect them because they will likely lose their citizenship, or rather, they will lose their they will be treated as pretty much essentially like those that cross the border illegally. I mean, they probably, that's kind of the thing. If these African immigrants got here illegally, or if they didn't go through the legal proceedings into becoming a citizen, then they won't. Then yes, they will be negatively affected by this bill. So he's right in that regard, but that's not what I mean. That's not. Well, you got to. I guess that kind of like depends on the how much we sympathize with those individuals. You know what I'm saying? Which I would argue that Black Americans should sympathize with African immigrants, but I mean, like I said, that's kind of one of those really big contentious conversations at this given moment. So anyway, but when it comes to Black Americans or those that were that were descendant of emancipated peoples, the conversation is a lot different, right? Will they be affected? It like I said, it will be hard for me to believe that it will affect. It will be hard for me to believe that their livelihood would change, knowing that their citizenship won't be revoked. You know what I mean? If the 14th Amendment is stripped, I don't see these people being not being citizens anymore. For the simple reason that we would be out, it's really like the same situation as other groups in America. I mean, maybe besides Native Americans, but yeah, everybody except Native Americans, except descendants of emancipated peoples, they're all immigrants. They all took a boat. They immigrated here. You know what I mean? Is that the settlers, the pilgrims, they just took the land. They purchased the west end of it, not without war, mind you. They will be in the same boat if the 14th Amendment was revoked and it disenfranchised those descendant of emancipated peoples in America. I'm gonna start saying freedmen because I don't want to say all that anymore. We're gonna start saying freedmen. So yeah, I can't see that being a thing because they will essentially be shooting themselves in the foot legally at least. But I guess that kind of depends on the individuals that are in power. Because like I said, a lot of things that can apply for he may not apply for we, right? But let's keep going on.
So Donald Trump's administration overturning birthright citizenship will have an impact on, on that. You feel me? Third argument, when Trump says he wants to deport the enemy within and homegrown criminals, That applies to
Who are
black
you
people.
talking about?
Now, yeah, yes, yes, that does indeed apply to black people. With black men voting for Kamala Harris or voting Democrat, I'm sorry, of the 78% of the black men that voting for Kamala Harris, yeah, yeah, those guys they would definitely qualify as enemy within. They definitely would. The black women that voted, 92% of them voted for Kamala Harris. They would and they will definitely qualify as the enemy within. Anybody that opposes Donald Trump, especially when he says something about enemies, you will qualify as an enemy if you don't vote for Donald Trump. That just kind of is what it is. So he's absolutely right about that one. And I think one thing that we kind of see a lot, at least on FBA Twitters and stuff like that, and even Tariq Nasheed himself, is a lot of Republican support, a lot of Trump support. Now maybe not full support. Like they try to make some, let's put it this way. We do see. I literally saw a video where he said he told somebody that Donald Trump was a better pick for black Americans than Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? And gave a really pitiful reason as to why. And he pretty much bombed the debate against Fanatic regarding over Donald Trump. So like it's yeah, I don't know what he got to do better than that. But at FBAs and all that stuff, or a lot of that Twitter sphere of FBAs need to do better with understanding politics, like for sure. Anyway, so yeah, again, I'll give him this point. There's not much to really argue against. It's just facts.
That applies to black people. That's my argument. My
Yeah.
fourth argument, which is another link argument to the white nationalist argument. When they talk about tether, that is another concept created by white nationalists, i.e. a anchor baby or a tether baby. These are all arguments showing y'all how FBA is white nationalism in blackface.
Okay. All right. So this is a big one. I don't like this argument at all because there's always distinctions. There's always distinctions when it comes to when black people apply something and something that we see other nationality groups do, right? I think the quick response that we would normally see from FBA is other groups do it, why can't we? I mean that's just like the general broad bold response, like when if like example, because what I'm trying to say is it is not specifically relegated to this specific critique, right? Another example would be delineating like the whole purpose of this FBA thing, and ADOS as well. The purpose of delineation is to just is to make the distinction between those emancipated from slavery, and those individuals that didn't. At least that's for ADOS. But for FBA, there's a different distinction. They are more so on the lines of anybody that is black, even before emancipation, qualifies as the FBA. It's just me. How do I put this? It's just that there's a lot of intersection between both groups, mostly pertaining to like everything that the government did to what we're gonna say freedom for right now. Both free. Okay. There's a lot of intersection and actions that there's a lot of commonalities amongst FBA and ADOS instilled to both groups by the United States government. Okay, but again, it is important to understand that even though like at a glance you think that both groups represent the same people, not necessarily. Solely because, and I don't even know if Tariq Nasheed knows this, which is kind of out there, but there's people there was black people. We all know it's not. I'm not gonna say that Tariq doesn't know this specific portion, but yes, there's people. There were black Americans, and during times of slavery that were not slaves. They were never slaves, right? But they still qualify as FBA. They were foundation to this land, right? They were already here. And I want to say this too. Foundational Black Americans also means that it also includes melanated or black people that were here before the slave ships. You know what I mean? Because there's a whole argument about if because like I guess if I can just kind of like throw the like recall the arguments to the best of my ability, if you kind of punch in the numbers, if you kind of I guess you have to compare like the number of how many slaves there were in America during like America's like first years of slavery, compare that number to the number of slaves to the number of slaves that were transported here by like essentially taking the total number, the max capacity of a slave ship, and then multiply it times how many slave ships there were. People are just simply saying that calculation does not match. It does not equate to the number of slaves during the first years of American chattel slavery. So that is the argument. So with that considered, again, and I'm not saying I'm adopting this argument. I just understand the argument. Now, with that considered, all those slaves that did not that was not transported here via slave ship, they all, whether they're slaves or not, imagine. I'm gonna talk everybody that's melanated, everybody that was black, is what I'm referring to. All of them will qualify as foundational to America, and also black, right? So, whereas ADOS, Americans descended of slaves, that's only that's only people that were descended of emancipated people. All right, so it is different groups. There's a lot of intersectionality. There's commonalities. Still two different groups. Still accommodates for different people. Anyway, so I almost lost my. I did so much explaining. I almost lost my. I think I lost my train of thought here. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me think about this. Let me just replay this back for a second. It's 2:44.
Created by white nationalists, i.e., a anchor baby or a tether baby. These are all arguments showing y'all how they are. FBA is white supremacy, white nationalism in blackface.
Okay, so essentially, yeah, I think I recall what I was getting at. So like I said, there is this name tether that was created. I believe it was created by the FBA or people that hashtag FBA. How do I put this? He calls this he's essentially calling this a slur, right? And it's a slur that is rooted, that is pretty much the black version of calling somebody an anchor baby. You know what I mean? And I don't think. How do I put this? Anchor baby. Let's. I won't even give you any false information. I'm gonna just actually search it up for y'all. Right? Anchor baby. Okay, of course it's dictionary.com has an understanding of this. Let's go with AI mode. No, let's not do AI mode. They be on some other shit sometimes. Um, Wikipedia. Wikipedia. New York Times. Let's just read a couple of these definitions because everybody gonna have something different. I'm not doing Urban Dictionary like that. No. Dictionary.com. Anchor baby definition. A term used to refer to a baby born to an undocumented mother in a country where the baby becomes a citizen at birth, especially when the birth is planned to facilitate eventual legal residency for the family. Okay, that's what an anchor baby is. All right. So let's look at the word tether. Oh, I said leather like a click. Let's throw that FBA little word on there. In context to they said Amazon FBA, holy balls. Everything you wanted. Okay, here we go. Okay, I guess it's in here somewhere. Is it Control F? Yeah. Okay, the danger of dual allegiances. Anchor tethers who view themselves. Anchor tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. Okay, this is more or less a meaning to what a tether is. In modern times, the white establishment deliberately elevates non-FBA or anchored tethers. So that's what a tether is. Even though they did put this anchored here, which doesn't help my defense whatsoever. But but non FBA is like the big is what we're kind of talking about. It's like non melanated like I'm sorry. It's melanated non FBA individuals. That's how it starts out. It's let's read the whole thing first. In modern times, the white establishment deliberately elevates non FBA or anchor tellers to act as spokespersons and leaders for foundational Black Americans, and the result of this practice has been devastating for FBAs. For this reason, foundational Black Americans should only consider other qualified full FBA representatives to act as spokesperson for the collective interests of the Hickman Group. Hold on. I gotta stop myself now. To my understanding, so let me see something real quick. That was, uh-oh. I might have been wrong about FBAs. Hold on a second. What's the word I'm looking for? That's not good. Not kind. Okay. Okay, not that. Okay, so let's go with Urban Dictionary for a second, because this is just for like a split second, because I know I remember what I just said about FBA. I mean, Urban Dictionary. Black American supremacists, FBA. Okay, we already on the wrong foot because let's read them. Let's hear them out. They use white supremacist ideologies against Black immigrants because they are pissed that their white government does not acknowledge them in society. Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. A melanated person who is not found. Okay. Okay. A melanated person who is not a foundational Black American that uses their melanin or blackness to undermine Black Americans, FBA. So others typically use their blackness to act as representative for Black Americans, FBA, for the benefit of their white handlers while having disdain for Black Americans. So yeah, that's pretty much what I initially understood to be what a tether was. Let's read another one. A term that directly describes those African descendants that betray their own or others, a mimic, infiltrator, chameleon, agent slash sellout, someone who disrupts the goals, progress, and or mission of their slash other groups. I don't know, because that's what I don't like. I don't even like that definition either. Um, so let's go with this last one. A person of a foreign lineage who undermines and or unjustifiably dislikes and or discredits and or denigrates and or seeks to thwart the legitimate aspirations of foundational Black Americans and whose forebears came to the lands of North America as colonists or some other foreign invader, or a person who come to the United States as an immigrant, or whose parents, grandparents, etc., came to the United States as immigrants who likewise undermines and or unjustifiably dislikes and or discredits and or denigrates and or seeks to thwart the legitimate aspirations of foundational Black Americans. This includes persons of all races and ethnicities, but especially pertains to foreign lineage, Negroid people, i.e. native Negroid Africans, Negroid Caribbeans, and Negroid Hispanics. This is due to the aforementioned people being of the same race as foundational Black American people, and thus them being a sort of doppelganger in relation to them. All tethers have forebears who come to the lands of North America as colonists, or they themselves are immigrants of the offspring of immigrants. Additionally, they have a disdain for and or seek to thwart the legitimate aspirations of foundational Black Americans in some way. Okay, so this definition is more akin to what I understood FBA to be. Okay. I don't. But again, I don't really. I don't. I'm just. Not mind you. I'm not gonna. I still don't really honor Urban Dictionary too much. In this manner, because I would say that the site itself will speak to others. You know what? I just thought about something. We actually did a video on this a while ago. So this video is gonna go undergo a lot of editing. But like that was kind of like he could have did better with the explain. He didn't really go into like exactly. He didn't go into. He said something different on the podcast. Is what I'm trying to say. Because here it kind of just states that these people, non-FBA anchor tellers to act as spokesperson, and as a result of this practice has been devastating for FBAs. For this reason, foundational Black Americans should only consider other qualified full FBA representatives to act as spokespersons for the collective interests of the ethnic group. Yeah. So I mean, for them to kind of like have a call to action to essentially not trust any Africans or any non FBAs to represent them in politics is kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't respect that. I mean, if you're gonna hold a politician accountable, hold them accountable, but don't hold them accountable before they even do anything off the strength of them not being FBA. You know what I mean? Like there is still like commonality between what you label yourselves as FBA and also individuals that are not non-FBA but are still melanated. You know, Africans can still be our allies. For you to automatically assume that they don't have our best interests at heart off the strength of past non-FBAs undermining our collective interests. I don't know. I can't get behind that at all. No, I can't at all. Let's see here. What was I? Oh yeah, this YouTube video. Okay. Actually, I know exactly what to do. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
That's what makes them a good tether.
So real quick, yeah, this is a throwback, y'all. This one is a throwback. Actually, it might be this right here.
A tether is basically a foreign coon.
Okay.
That's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
A coon with a passport.
Do they have to have an accent or just
No.
mostly they don't.
A lot of them. That's what makes them a good tether.
Well, yeah, a coon with a passport. So anybody that don't know what that is, I probably shouldn't share that because YouTube be on some BS with me with that word. So let's go. So let's find out what that means. What that word means. You know what? I can't do that. Listen, off the strength that YouTube have a problem with that particular word, just go pull up your Google and find out what that word means. But yeah, he said it's a foreign C word, right? Anybody that knows what that C word actually means, it's essentially just, again, it's a person. Ooh, excuse me, it's a black person that actively that goes out their way to denigrate the progress of other Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? So it's but yeah, he said is that with a passport. You know what I'm saying? Which is still kind of a he still kind of messed that definition up as well. But the understanding is somebody that came from a melanated person from a foreign land that is out to essentially undermine the struggles and the collective progress of Black Americans. That's what a tether actually is. And for consciously to not make that distinction, it's kind of like, again, it's just bad faith. You know what I mean? It's not an anchor baby. It's very much so different than an anchor baby. Anchor baby is just somebody that, as I just read to you, somebody that was born of an illegal immigrant on American fertile soil, or whatever. Like I said, they're getting citizenship through birthright citizenship. Anyway, so. Well, I want to say it clearly. An anchor baby is somebody that gains citizenship through birthright citizenship, and not through their parents actually already having citizenship in any given nation. Anyway, so like I said, it's just really bad faith for him to not make that distinction, especially knowing how intelligent consciously actually already is. So yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
Which takes me to my fifth argument. FBA is inconsistent with its delineations of who's FBA versus who's tethered. I.e., Malcolm X, they say, is, FBA because they feel like he did some good shit. But the random person that has a parent from Grenada on Twitter, they are tethered. Shut up. You feel me? Biggie, Mama, born and raised in Jamaica, but Biggie's born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Is he a tether or is he an FBA? You know what I'm saying? He was he FBA. You feel me? Maya Angelou, Cicely Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Like all these are different things.
I've heard some niggas call Shirley Chisholm a tether.
Hey.
Straight up. Yeah.
Hey. Keep on going. I got more arguments.
Okay, so let's Malcolm X is not a he was born from immigrant parents. I didn't know that. Early years. Born Malcolm. Wait, hold on. Where's his parents at? Born, cause of death, resting place, organization, moving parents. His mother was Louise Helen born Grenada. Okay. Like Grenada. St. Andrew's Parish is the largest parish in Grenada. The main town in Grenville, which is also Grenada's second one. It's the largest parish in Grenada. It's an island country of the West Indies and the Eastern Caribbean Sea. Okay, Caribbean or something. I heard that place. Okay, so this is the mother, Louise Little. So she's not descendant of slaves. Earl Little. Malcolm Little was born Nebraska, the fourth of seven children in Grenada, born Louise Little, and Georgia born Earl Little. So what are you talking about, bro? If he was born in Georgia, yeah, he's American. Earl was an outspoken Baptist lay speaker, and he and Louise were admirers of Pan-African activity. Marcus Garvey. Dude, like, what are you talking? See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, so he was off about that. Like, Malcolm X was he would qualify as FBA. He qualifies as ADOS. I believe so, at least. He was if his father was born in Georgia, he probably was. He probably is descendant of slaves. But like, no, dude. Like, just because you got one parent that's like, I don't know. So that was a bad example. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like I don't know, man. Like, conscious. Like, that was just like sloppy. You know what I mean? I don't know, bro. This is just sloppy. That was sloppy. I don't like that. So anyway, as far as his claim that FBAs are inconsistent with their labeling of these people, like it just kind of goes back to what I said earlier. There's gonna be a bunch of people that claim FBA that just don't know shit. Again, this is like the best example I can think of is it's like listening to somebody that claims to be a Democrat but knows almost nothing about politics, and then he tried to tell you something that a real politician, that a real Democratic politician just would not say. You know what I mean? So there's gonna be plenty of people that with the hashtag FBA is gonna say some nonsense. Are you gonna just take the Twitter and then type in FBA in a search and then just collect all the just crazy cockamamie arguments that you see these people make and assume that these people are really that these people, you're gonna assume that these people are actual representatives of that, as you label the group. Again, it's not. Tariq Nasheed himself has let everybody know that FBA is not a group; it is a lineage. So anybody can have any opinion they want under this lineage. So you have to respect that as such. You don't make the rules of that. Of this group or what you want to call it. You don't make the rules. Like the people that created this movement, the person that got the ball rolling, he essentially set the rules. He set the stage as far as what this FBA identity actually is. So with that said, like, no, you have to, like, I don't know, man, like submit. I don't know, maybe you have to, maybe somewhere in this 2-hour, 14-minute video, somebody kind of come in and like help them understand that these people are not actual representatives of the FBA. They're just trolls or liars or anything to that nature. But I don't know. I feel like consciously is more so vexed in this period, and maybe it was a time of weakness for him. So no, that was a bad argument.
FBA is divisive and alienating black folks. What's your stories? Black coalition building. 7 argument.
Okay, so they're divisive. I can agree with this for the most part. I think I can. I think I can. At least from his lived experience, I can. There's definitely a lot of actual FBAs that are relatively divisive when it comes to like this. So it's like we just read it. We just read it on the page itself. He essentially said, "Don't let politicians that are non FBA to speak on your behalf." I mean, let me see. Did he say speak on our behalf or represent us? Let me see, because I mean, because the thing is, I still would like, no, I still wouldn't even agree with that, even if it was like, I still wouldn't agree with it off the strength that if you have somebody, you can have anybody speak on your behalf as long as they speak on your behalf in a accurate manner, then it should be fine. You know what I mean? So FBA should only consider other qualified full FBA representatives to act as spokespersons for the collective interests of the ethnic group. Spokespersons. No, it's like I said, bro. I mean, no, I don't agree with that because, like I said, anybody can properly represent you as a lineage or however you want to label it. It's just a matter of them doing it in an accurate manner. And if you're gonna just base this off of what off the failings of past non-FBA's politicians and so on and so forth. This is so silly. This is so damn silly. That is dumb. That really is a dumb take. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, if you're gonna just base that like assumption that you're gonna base this rule off of like the assumption that I'm sorry, if you're gonna base this assumption off of the past dealings with of non-FBAs, then that's just kind of foolish. It's presumptuous. It's basically applying stereotypes. So that's definitely a L take, like for sure. It's just that the only thing you just need to like properly vet these individuals because like those individuals that like got away with it, and did not act to our best interest. Those individuals weren't vetted properly. And like fact of the matter, like Uncle Tom, not Uncle Tom's, Sambos exists. Like FBAs that act against the better interest of the group, of the collective, yeah, those guys exist as well, and they're mostly conservatives and Trump voters. You know what I'm saying? But yes, those individuals they exist as well, and they can. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I guess the big word is considered. So like just because yeah. Because I'll take it back. Because the key word here is consider. So just because you consider them does not mean they're gonna pass a sniff test. So I'll give them credit for that. But no, still, regardless though, you're not supposed to. You don't stereotype somebody and you don't like stereotype a whole like group because some unvetted individuals made your life harder. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta just all this means is you're supposed to vet everybody you're supposed to vet every politician that makes any sort of attempt to represent any spokesperson that makes an attempt to represent you. Like, come on now. What am I doing next? Okay, we're going back to do as. So yeah.
FBA men fight harder against black immigrants than they fight for black women reproduction. Argument. FBA care more about illegals than they care about children, black children, and alienating black folks. What's your stories? Black coalition building. 7 argument. FBA men fight harder against black immigrants than they fight for black women reproduction. AR.
Okay. They fight harder for illegal immigration than they do for black women's reproductive rights. Oh well, I mean, yeah, I think that's. I mean, we still have to acknowledge. I'm gonna have to say this every freaking time, I guess. But yes, we are gonna have to acknowledge that, like, just because you're FBA does not. I mean, understand that FBA is a lineage, not necessarily a political group to any capacity. We have to understand that there's no one size fit all. There's no monolith understanding as far as politics at all. If it doesn't matter. The only thing these people like collectively understand, or at least in theory, coming back from Trick and Shea himself, the only thing these people are supposed to have in common is the identity themselves, the identity itself, the FBA identity. But like no, like as far as politics is concerned, like there's gonna be some that, I mean, like the women, for example, they'll mess around and advocate harder for the women's reproductive rights over illegal immigration and stuff. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how you kind of look at it, bro. I mean, I know there's there was during the election. I mean, not during the election. When Greg Abbott was sending all these immigrants to all of these different when they were sending all these undocumented immigrants to all these different sanctuary cities, it arguably caused a financial strain on the individuals in that city, in those cities. And that's just one of those failings of the left. We didn't see them engage. I didn't see any leftists engage with that conversation at all. Especially when they understand that, like, if there's like a clash between two marginalized groups, they typically avoid speaking on those clashes. And it is unfortunate because, like, I mean, I think these conversations are like necessary. They're necessary towards the healing or the full mending or binding of these two groups. But again, they just don't want to have those types of conversations. But I mean, very much so when it comes to like those undocumented immigrants. Yes, those individuals were placed in the ghettos, right? They were placed in areas where there was already substantial disinvestment, and the people there were didn't have a lot already. And then when these people kind of came in and took a share of the resources that a lot of Black Americans in those communities have been asking for a long time, it was a slap in the face. You know, when taxes had to be raised higher to accommodate for those individuals, that felt like a slap in the face. Like what happened over in New York about those cars and stuff like that. Like that also was a slap in the face. And like I'm just saying, like, I mean, one of the great criticisms that that's going to hold Democrats and leftists back is the inability or unwillingness to have the conversation about, okay, what do y'all do when one marginalized group is essentially pinned against another marginalized group for resources, right? So that's, if you ask higher thinking, the answer is tax the rich. But that's I think a lot of them will agree with that as well. But if you're not gonna have that if you're so afraid to have that conversation, then when are you gonna come with a solution? You know. So I don't know. Maybe let's say, best case scenario, maybe there's a Discord channel or something like that somewhere where they discuss these matters. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah. I forgot the point this guy was making. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's take it back. 42.
Storage Black Coalition building. 7 argument. FBA men fight harder against Black immigrants than they fight for Black women reproduction.
Okay. So I guess the point I was making is, I can see it happening. Like I said, there's knowing that Tariq Nasheed is like the ringleader of those that identify as FBA, which is probably what he means in all of this. But again, I guess there's a clash between what he understands to be FBA and what the actual argument, what the actual theory is, but just to be, in other words, just to be charitable to him, he really means that everybody that identifies as FBA, which is still like a massive reach because not everybody that identifies as FBA even know the origins of that hashtag, or not the hashtag itself, but like the identity, like, and let alone the politics or the sentiments of the individual, Tariq Nasheed that, again, that created that identity. But yeah, so like I said, considering Tariq Nasheed himself, considering that this applies to Tariq Nasheed, it is safe to say that a lot of people that identify as FBA does talk more about securing the border and deportations and everything to that nature, more than they would talk about women's reproductive rights. So,
argument: FBA care more about illegals than they care about children.
More, okay, so they care about illegals more than they care about children. I don't know about that. I mean, more about illegals than children. I don't know. Well, which children are you talking about? Are they talking about? You gotta put a. Okay, so okay. So you have to apply some distinction when it comes to children. FBA children, right? They very much so care about, like, matter of fact, everything they do is for the betterment of FBA children. Like, that's what it is. Now, if you want to just say children of other nationality, ethnicity groups, yes, very much so. Less than much. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, how do I put this? It's like the argument they will make is, first of all, everybody else does that. Second of all, we have the right to care about our own kids over, the kids of that are not under our jurisdiction or under our protection. We can only stretch ourselves so far, and then other groups have been using us, has used us or wrung us dry up to this point anyway. So that's, and I don't know what to say. That would be something that, so to Conscious Lee's point, we can grant him that. We can grant him that point. But like, it's like, how much are we to expect of black people to care about the world when it's only 14% of us in America, and even less of us that actually identify as FBA. You know what I mean? So just how much can we give to the world when we ourselves are already fighting for scraps as it is? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So it's I get it. He constantly does. I mean, he's correct, but I'm just not necessarily agreeing that that's as bad as he's trying to make it out to be. Everybody, every group, I mean, every person is gonna care about their own kids more than they're gonna care about anybody else's kids, and that's just the immediate. That's just your immediate family. But so yeah, if you identify as your delineated group, in this case FBA or even ADOS or whatever, Black American, there's a likelihood that you're going to care about those kids more than other kids. I mean, we see it happening in every other in every other ethnicity, in the ethnicity group. But I mean, it's like, and I get it is tough to say something like that. But what I will say is that on that same token, like I said, we have we have less than 5% wealth share in America. Most of us are in debt. And most of us don't have time to essentially do it all to fight everybody else's battles. And I don't know. It's just I can't really get on board with him criticizing people for not caring about everybody's kids, because nobody cares about everybody's kids. Like, I'm just being realistic.
Black children, like these is all.
Wait, hold
is
on.
all,
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
okay. I think I spoke too soon. Did I speak too soon? Holy crap!
Children, like these is all. You know what I'm saying? Arguments right here. You know, as a matter of fact, Storage Black Coalition building, 7 argument. FBA men fight harder against black immigrants than they fight for black women reproduction. 8 argument. FBA care more about illegals than they care about children, black children.
Oh, you said black children. Oh, okay. That changed everything. Okay. They care more. Okay, so okay. All right, that's okay, my bad. I gotta delete all that shit and edit. Oh god. Higher thinking, please remember to delete that whole fucking part. Okay, so how do I put this? Wow. FBA, so they care more. They care more about deportation and holding those illegal immigrants accountable. More they care about black children. Damn, what a take. What a take. So I guess the best argument I can provide is it is for the children's protection that these people are essentially not siphoning FBA's resources. So that's what the argument should sound like. What do I think about that? What is my opinion regarding that? Overall, I think everything we should be aspiring for as parents should be for the betterment of the next generation. And it's like you have to argue that those individuals being placed in black neighborhoods, you have to be able to argue that those that they're not siphoning the resource to the point where it's a significant burden on the individuals that live in these communities. Okay. And I think that's applicable in many situations, but we have to agree that it is a detriment when the taxes when it's harder to keep up with one's bills with the taxes and things of that nature. So I mean, I'm just being as objective as I possibly can here. So so basically, if we can get if the city can come up with ways to like accommodate for those individuals without it being a significant burden on FBAs, right? Then this would be then consciously would have a point in here, because like it like essentially with them being so such a hard one about deporting illegal undocumented immigrants and foregoing the nurture and the well-being of the kids, then okay, then that would be a justified, like a valid critique. However, if the taxes go up, if it becomes harder for those individuals to live, then I guess that would be the difference maker. That would be like the justified reason to why these individuals would want to protect protect their livelihoods, right? Over wait a minute. That would be like justify Okay, I'm sorry. It will be justified because in that manner, in that situation, in that scenario, they would be essentially protecting their livelihood for like basically. And as I kind of said earlier, like Black Americans already kind of, Black Americans are already like in debt for the most part. Already live paycheck to paycheck. Already don't have much collected wealth. Already have much less opportunities than many of some of the other ethnic groups in America. So like our survivability is already like somewhat on the fritz comparative to other nationality groups, other ethnicities. As far as wealth, income and wealth share, we're at the very bottom at this point. I think if I recall correctly, Black Americans on average earn $43,000 a year on average in America, and then like I think that's either average or median, one of them. But like now we fell on everybody. So like with that considered, you have to understand that you have to understand like the sensitivity of resources in our communities, or you have to understand the sensitivity of protection of resource in these communities. You feel me? So.
Like these is all, you know what I'm saying, arguments right here. As a matter of fact, they say I ain't got it. I'm dropping it in the chat right now. As a matter of fact, you can go and hop on for me real fast if you got it.
Okay, so that seems to be the end of the video. And I know I kind of, this is a long one. That's pretty much his whole spiel against FBAs, and that is pretty much my some rebuttal to most of them from my understanding of the FBAs. Again, like I more so identify as freedmen. I also understand like the importance of delineating. At least it's just when it comes to like the numbers, dealing with the numbers alone. People like Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore do a better job at explaining the importance of these numbers. Here, a brief example is, and this came from Antonio Moore. We can talk about since there's no delineating. When we kind of talk about like, if you look at the United States Census definition of the term black, or how it's explained in the census, like the census explains black to be those whom have lineage rooted in Africa. There's how do I put this? What that means is that counts everybody. That means those individuals that are foundational to this America. It includes those who were the specific individuals that were enslaved in this country. And it also includes individuals that came from foreign land, or melanated people that came from foreign lands, i.e. Africa, both documented and undocumented. So with that, it can become a situation. It can become a problematic situation when it comes to, let's say, wealth or wealth accumulation. If we're gonna tally, if we're gonna keep score, right, or keep inventory, if we're gonna keep records of how much like wealth each ethnicity or ethnic group has, understanding that conflating freedmen's accumulated wealth with every other Black American subtype in America is gonna complicate that stat. You know what I mean? And some people can say, okay, what's the difference? Who cares if all of the numbers of like freedmen and black and Africans and African Americans, or individuals that that move here from Africa, or maybe first or second generation Africans. What difference does it make that they kind of combined our numbers to create whatever average as far as relegating to wealth accumulation? What difference does it make? It does matter when it depending on like the nature of each individual conversation. Like why are we accumulating these numbers? Why do we need to study these numbers to begin with? I think it's important that we again, depending on the nature of the conversation, depending on what you're trying to prove with those numbers, it can definitely change the trajectory of a conversation, knowing that freedmen make a certain amount of money in America last year comparatively to an African from any part of Africa making a certain amount of money. Antonio Moore himself stated that Africans from different parts of Africa, first or second generation Africans just have a different lived experience than those descendants of slaves. He basically says that off the strength of us going through 400 years of unpaid labor is a distinction in of itself that makes it. Well, no. Not just that. But I'm not going to say everybody. I'm not going to say every African, but there's also a population of Africans that have the money to make the trip to America and do everything legally. Do it like perform do the citizenship, do all that shit legally. And that takes money to do that. That's not. And I'm not saying that these people are like substantially wealthy, but like Antonio Moore himself says that yes, they have more wealth, they have more money than those that were that have not 400 years, but Jesus, over 200 years of unpaid labor, and 400 years of combined oppression in general. About 80 something, 90 some, 80 some years. Wait, I think it's 60. Let me check real quick. Yeah, so 99 years of Jim Crow and 246 years of slavery. They like those realities. It just creates different. It's going to create like a different trajectory of wealth accumulation, as opposed to those individuals that come in from a country where there wasn't that type of oppression. Now there could be other types of oppression where each of these people came from. Their family may have experienced a certain level of disinvestment, or anything could have happened. You know what I mean? And it likely things kind of did happen, obviously. But what I will say is, if we're not gonna total up or calculate how each of these people's like lived experience correlates to like their ability to generate wealth. How do I put this? Then it's just best that we kind of separate our numbers from all these other groups' numbers. You know what I mean? And I would say a good example for why this will be important is understanding is to create not to create a narrative, but to help create the bill for reparations for Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand like that stuff. Like you have to. I think it's good to understand how much money American freedmen collectively have, separate from what Africans and other melanated people add to the collective number. You know what I mean? So, so I think that those type of conversations are important when it comes to like this. And this is definitely like super long video, but I think overall, I think Constantly, I think he definitely means well. Most leftists definitely do mean well, but like I just think that he needs to just do a better job at understanding the theory, understanding like just put more effort into listening to people that he don't agree with before he jumps to creating like debates and creating arguments and stuff like that. Like it's kind of just, I mean, I don't know. Like most good debaters already understand that like a substantial amount of research is necessary before they're able to before they feel like they're prepared for a debate. You know what I mean? An actual debate. I'm pretty sure he knows that already because he's very well decorated. He's a decorated debater. I don't know. So I don't know if constantly you're gonna see this. I'm definitely willing to have a conversation with you, my guy. But like again, I'm more so of I rather identify as Freeman. I don't really do the FBA thing. And because my reason is not necessarily to do with a lot of the reasons that I've seen online. I just don't support Trick and Cheat. But that's everybody's individual prerogative to support him and his hashtag or not. You feel me? So anyway, otherwise, words to the FBAs, y'all gotta clean up. Y'all gotta clean that ish up, bro. Like I understand y'all can't control everybody that uses Twitter. Like I get it, but this is why you're gonna continue to have these problems in the online space. And right now, you guys are essentially being lumped together with a lot of problematic narratives and stuff like that. So I don't know. You do what you will with this. Do what you will with this video, with this message. I'll catch you on the flip side. I've been high thinking. Oh boy. Okay, that's it for today. And here I am thinking I was going to have another conversation about something. Anyway, otherwise, like as I said at the top of this video, this live stream, I will definitely be doing a deep dive on I will definitely be doing a deep dive on this whole Iran situation. It's a very, very problematic, very scary situation, and hopefully this doesn't particularly heavily impact anybody that's watching this video, anybody that that I don't want anybody to be negatively affected by any of these things, and there's a chance that you probably have been. I don't know. I just don't know what to say, man. It's definitely apply a moment of silence to all those individuals that were lost, whose lives were lost in that bombing and bombings that led to that bombing. You know what I mean? So it's a very, very, very unfortunate situation. Trump said it's a good idea to do this, and I want to get to the bottom of why he thought it was a good idea to do this. So anyway, catch you on the flip side. I've been thinking of the Corner Show. Stay tuned. Well, they'll be coming out with videos this week, actually. So be blessed, everybody.
If you got some time,